Welcome back for the second hour of the third episode of the Long Voyage. When we left, the ship had pulled up alongside a small merchant vessel, apparently a local one from the Green Shores, and the crew, unarmed and terrified at facing Southlanders on board a warship, were apparently pretty sure that their last final moments had arrived, but Ormer has not given any attack orders and has instead asked for Baggy to come up to where he is standing because Baggy speaks the language.
Okay, well, Baggy comes up to where he stands then.
Yes, and he says, well, could you talk to these people, make it clear that I have no intention of killing them, but we do have some questions.
I can.
Right?
Did someone else say anything?
Yeah, just in the meantime, the Gilfie is like off his armor, just in his clothes, and just leaning over the side of the ship when the other ship is. So it's like he can hear as much as he can.
Yeah. That makes.
And he's very surprisingly excited and curious. Just like, ooh.
Yes.
So I think Baggy, in a voice loud enough to be heard by everyone on the other ship, asks, "Who among you is the captain?" In what is a heavily accented voice.
Well, yeah, but still understandable. And you use the old tongue or the new tongue? Sorry, I didn't.
The new tongue.
The new tongue. All right.
Yes.
Well, one man steps forward. He is, from the looks of it, he's the oldest one on board, which is probably not that surprising, all things considered. And he straightens his back and looks across the water to Baggy and says, I'm the captain of this of this ship. Obviously, we're no match for you. So if you wish to kill us all, we're not going to provide much sport, I'm afraid.
Well, not to worry. We have no intention of killing you yet. My captain has questions for you. Will you answer them?
Absolutely. I have nothing to hide.
Then Baggy looks at his captain. Ask.
He says, well, first and foremost, if we continue due north or north by northwest from here, whose lands will we land on? And I'm not so much talking about ordinary people as I'm talking about what sword rules there. That would be the first question I need answered.
Baggy translates.
And the man on the ship listens, obviously, and he says, well, if you continue due north from here, if you continue due north from here, you will land on Ernan McCulloch's lands, but he is well, I don't know if our titles will make any sense to you at all, he says, but he's the Tanaishte of this part of the coastline, and he serves Karatok, Sword of the Silver Queen.
Okay, well, Baggy then translates that for the captain. And he translates word by word. He doesn't attempt to translate or
no
hide anything.
And he says, okay, could you get him to explain what that noble title means?
He looks at the captain of the other ship and asks the question in Chiglas, new tongue, of course.
Yeah, he thinks about it for a while, and he says, well, it means it means that he is a leader in war. I suppose that's the closest I can get. Even when there isn't wars to be fought, it's his responsibility to make sure that there are men and women, mostly men, capable of fighting, and ready to do so. He's looking for men. If you guys are here on peaceful business.
At this, Baggy lights up in a smile, and he turns to his captain and says, "It means commander, leader of warriors, and
Good.
as it seems we're fortunate because he is apparently looking for men."
Well, that is good fortune indeed. Let us, he says, let us make the most of that.
I agree.
When an opportunity arises, we should certainly take it. Well,
Yes.
I'm thinking, he says and looks at Baggy, you've been to the Green Shores before. Would you say that it would be... You wouldn't... no, he says, and just, it's clear he's thinking about what to ask, if anything. And he says, maybe ask him, or do ask him, if this Karatok that he mentioned, how his fortunes are. Can't hurt to know what we're getting ourselves into.
Baggy then looks back at the captain and repeats the question.
Yeah. Well, the man shrugs and sags a little, his shoulders, and then he shakes his head and says, "Not too well. He's an honourable man, but was caught off guard recently by enemies, and he has lost much of his territory, which is why they are now looking for men ashore, because they want to reconquer it."
Right. Baggy looks back at his captain and says, "Well, it seems our fortune has no end. The man recently suffered losses, and as far as I can tell from what I'm hearing this fine gentleman say, that puts us in quite an advantageous position when we negotiate with this man."
Yeah, I'd say 72 Southlanders would come in quite handy in a situation like that.
Yep.
I can almost smell the silver. I can almost smell it.
Yes, it smells fantastic.
It does, doesn't it?
Yes.
Well, tell the man thank you, and good winds, and we will not bother him further. He's been very helpful.
He looks back at the other captain and says, "Thank you. My captain has asked me to inform you that we will not kill you. So, count yourself lucky."
You can just see the look on his face.
He winks at the captain.
I can breathe again. And you can see the look on the face, because you're speaking their language, obviously. So you can see the look on his men's faces. They're all like, "Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness!" And they were all just staring death in the face, and now they've been given a new lease of life. They're very, very happy right now, and they don't. They don't look a gift life in the mouth, but the captain shouts back and says, "Thank you and fair winds to you as well," and then they get on their merry way.
Probably for the best.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before we change our mind.
Yeah. In the meantime, like while the back and forth was happening, Gilfie was just perched over the side of the ship, just his eyes jumping from one person to the other, trying to absorb as many like clothing, like jewelry, what they were wearing, how they were behaving, the hairstyles, like everything. It's just ooh, fancy.
I think the thing that he probably would have noticed is, well, they were, their clothes are of pretty good quality, but they're hardworking people on board a ship, so it's not anything fancy or anything like that. But it's the one thing you noticed is that while these men were clearly terrified, and there's no question that they were frightened for their lives, none of them were weeping, and none of them were, on their knees pleading for their lives. They were frightened, but they were dignified.
Well, that's good.
And yes, so the when a moment passes and the other ship pulls away, and Ormer pats Baggy on the shoulder and says, "Thank you, that was well done. I appreciate that." And then he beckons for to get everybody's attention, and he raises his voice and he says, "Well, men, it looks like we're in for a bit of a windfall. It looks like we might actually have some money waiting for us ashore. It seems like, according to the crew on that ship, it seems like there's a bit of a war going on ashore. And the people who have just lost, I don't know if it's a battle or several battles, they're looking to hire good, strong fighting men and women," he says, and looks towards the battle maidens. "And, well, the way I see it, if they've just suffered some serious losses, I think they should be prepared to pay pretty handsomely to have Southlanders and Southlander steel, or Southlander iron, as he will say it, at their disposal. So let's get there and let's find a war to fight. Why don't we?"
Back to something well known.
Indeed. And he lets everybody get back to the oars, and again, you can see land from where you are, Sindri. So
at this point, once this is over, I then shout out that I can see land in north by northwest on the horizon. Judging by how you said it's like a thin strip, and judging by the speed, we might get there before the day's out, I think.
Yeah, you would. You'd get there before the day's out.
Yeah. So.
In fact, you get there. You get there in pretty good time. You have people are hauling on the oars, and everybody wants to get ashore because good grief, proper food.
Anyone gonna just fall onto the sand and start kissing it and
No. It's not a matter of that. It's more a matter of food.
Yes.
So so you get there probably around the middle of the afternoon or so, and you can actually see when you get closer to the coast, from up where you are, you can direct the course, of course, because you can see it. There is actually a sizable harbor, and it's fortified.
Okay, again. Harbour in view, Captain, but it's fortified. We need to be careful how we approach, or they might just, send out someone to meet us halfway.
Oh, I'm sure they will be willing to negotiate. Let's make sure we don't come in with. Let's make sure we don't come in under sail. And let's make sure we don't have the. And let's make sure we don't put the ice reaver head on the prow, and then just sail in nice and slow. And if at any time they start making overtures towards shooting at us or anything of the sort from up there, you just let me know, okay?
Okay. I might get down briefly to help put the sail away, but I need to get back up here as soon as possible.
Exactly, yes. We'll leave the mast up so you still have a place to, look out from.
Very considerate of you, Captain.
And you do approach, and well, you can see people gathering, and you can also see armed men ashore being ready. But there are no ships being put into the water to come out to meet you. No arrows are being shot at you either. You're not coming in at ramming speed or anything of the sort. You're coming in nice and slow, and you're not making much of a threatening overture. So they let you approach, but once you are close enough to the beach that they can shout towards you, they do. And again, Baggy is asked to come up and talk to these people.
Mm-hmm. He does so.
And well, one of the one with the good pair of lungs in there is shouting and saying, "Southlanders, what are you doing here?
What do you want?"
First Baggy looks to his captain to see if the captain has any input. And he says to the captain, "Captain, they're hailing us. They're asking us what we're doing here."
Tell him the truth. We're here to make some money, fighting on their behalf if they need us.
Well, Baggy then shouts to the man,
Mm-hmm.
"We're here to take your silver."
A hello, baby.
The man responds by, in the way you might expect, by saying, "Well, I think we might want to hang on to that."
"Well, worry not. We'll take it by coming under your employment."
There's a long silence, and then,
"We wish to kill for you."
"Excuse me, you say kill, not kill us, but kill for us?"
"Kill for you, or kill you if you try anything."
There's
And all the while, Baggy, I imagine the captain sees Baggy's wag. If he grins any further, his cheek will split.
yeah, and the man on shore clearly thinks about this for a moment, and then he says, like, "All right, so you are sellswords."
Yes, that's a word for it.
Excellent. Oh, come ashore then.
Damn
He
it,
looks at his
Baggy.
captain. Well, seems they've opened their doors for us.
Well, probably, but I think we should probably anticipate that they will want, to keep a close eye on us and when we get there. But that makes perfect sense. But let's go ashore and meet with the nice local people. See how much silver they're willing to part with.
Also, Captain, I think one of them might have shit their pants when first I started speaking to.
Oh, Baggy, what did you say?
Oh, nothing.
Right. I'll believe that then. Right. He does send you a bit of a look of you enjoy this too much, and then the ship is pulled into this excellent natural harbor, and it's very deep. Once you get in there, it's the what's it called? There's an inlet once you get past the headland, which is a lot deeper than what it looks from the from where you've been. So basically, you've been looking at the fortified part of this settlement, which is all the way out on the headland. But when you pass that and get into the inlet itself, the fjord, you realize that this is actually a very sizable community. There could be as many as 3,000 or 4,000 people living here.
Oh shit.
By
That's a lot
Southlander standards, this is a massive city.
Wow.
They're certainly not lacking in city building capabilities.
You think we found their capital?
Well, Baggy, you would know that this is not their capital, at least, because the capital of the Green Shores is inland.
And I imagine it's much larger.
It's you haven't seen it, but you've been told that as many as 60,000 people live there. Which is a number which is probably a number that for most Southlanders would just be like, yeah, right. Pull the other one; it's got bells on it. You know?
He looks at Frody and says, "No, this is not the capital. The capital holds 100,000 men at least."
Right. And you also said they were waist high. I can clearly see that they are at least a head taller than my waistline.
You're a sharp one, aren't you?
I should hope so.
Ilva doesn't look impressed either.
Anyway, you guys are allowed to moor the ship and you can tell that. I mean, yes, that there are armed people here, and they are very, very cautious of you when you get ashore. They're very, very careful. They keep their distance. They haven't drawn their weapons. Well, except for the archers, but they haven't drawn,
the string.
They haven't drawn the arrows on their strings, but they're all clearly wary of you, and the man that
no idea why.
the man that you spoke to before says, well, you're in luck. He says, and looks to Baggy because he doesn't know if any of the others understand a word of what he says.
Oh.
A few other people on the crew speak a few words of either the new or the old tongue as well, but Baggy is clearly the well, he's the only one who speaks both, and he's more fluent than the others. So, but he's you're in luck. There's a need for warriors if you are willing to fight for someone other than your own sword for a moment.
As long as the silver is good.
Right. Well, I think he's silver. He looks at the others and is, you can tell that they're a bit confused about the whole silver thing. But after a moment, he's like, yeah, sure. I mean, sure. You'll get plenty of silver if that's the coinage you prefer. I have no doubt of that. There's a camp about half a day inland from here. I can send some men with you to show you the way if you want.
That might be helpful. Also, Joan,
Yeah.
out of game, Turglass currency. Would Baggy know anything
It's
about
primarily gold. Well,
Primarily gold.
Primarily gold.
Gold.
They do use silver, but they think of silver as the lesser of the two metals.
that? Okay.
Gold's just such a useless metal.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Southlanders like gold. It's not that it's pretty, and you can make nice things out of it for jewelry and so on. But there's
of course.
But silver is seen as blessed by the powers.
Exactly.
So therefore, for Southlanders, silver it has a higher value.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yes, and the so he's like, as I said, there's a camp about half a day from here. Karatok is not there, but he's expected to be there soon. If that interest of yours is genuine, then he will be the one who can. Well, he will be the one who will be paying you, and he's the one you'll be fighting for.
All right. So Baggy turns to his captain and relays the information he's been given.
Yeah. Well, he says, that sounds interesting, but could you ask the man if we could spend a day or two in, well, just a day, let's just say a day, here in whatever this place is, first, because quite frankly, food and so on might be nice for people to just, and not only that, he says, and looks around at everyone, it might also be a good way for the crew to get an impression of people here.
Right. Well, he looks at the spokesperson,
Yeah.
and says, my captain requests that we stay here for a day in this city of yours. It's been a long and arduous journey for us, and we would greatly appreciate the opportunity for rest.
Well, that, I suppose I can understand that. He's been at sea for many days. I don't have a problem with it, but I must warn you all that we have had attacks by Southlander raiders. It doesn't happen often, but it does occasionally, and consequently, there are a lot of people here who are distrustful of your people, and weapons should stay undrawn.
Of course.
Other than that, I'm certain that everyone here will be more than happy to do business with you.
Excellent. Bagger turns to his captain and says, well, the good man has agreed to let us stay in this settlement for a day or so.
Sure. Then he looks back at the gathered crew and says, all right, everybody on your best behavior, but we have one day here in this settlement, and we will meet here tomorrow at noon, and we will start marching inland from there. When we do so, when we march inland, Grunny, you and Veybrander and Jangather and he takes a look at a few others. He says, Steingrimmer, you stay back here with the ship. Keep Laufey here as well. And yeah, that should do it. And then the rest of us will go inland. And you can just see the look on the faces of the people who've been told to stay behind is like, "Aw!" But somebody does have to, obviously, so, nobody's protesting too wildly. And, they, what is it called? He turns around and looks at, again, as I said, looks at everybody and says, go out, see what they have to offer. Get something to eat, get something to drink, pay for it, and don't get into trouble. Don't fight anyone unless they start it. These people are going to pay us. They're not going to pay us if we make them angry with us to begin with.
And also, Baggy adds to what the captain has already said, keep your weapons sheathed.
people are, seem to understand the good sense and reason in that. So, yeah.
But just since it was something he specifically called out as being a condition, I thought he might as well mention it.
Absolutely.
From somewhere in the throng, the voice of Sindri shouts out to Buggy. Does that include the weapon in your pants, Buggy?
No, it doesn't. That comes out.
You can just
Ilva looks very tired.
you hear one very, very exhausted voice from somewhere in the gathered throng. Suddenly, I'm happy. I'm being told to stay with the ship.
My plan has worked perfectly.
But yeah, that gives you the opportunity to go and take a look at the sights and meet the locals and get drunk and whatever.
Woohoo!
That
Ilva's
sounds like
gone.
a plan.
The second the plank is put down, Ilva's gone.
Does she go that fast down a rickety piece of wood? I'm surprised she doesn't fall off it.
Yeah, she is a fucking klutz. She probably falls into the water.
Yeah, I guess actually she does. Yeah, Ilva takes a nosedive. I think that's a good ruling. Yes.
Sindri will
The
go,
idea that she actually stumbles over the little edge before the plank, lands on the plank is buoyant, so she makes a little jump and falls in the water.
Oops. Yes.
Sindri will definitely go down to try and get her because she's very heavy with muscle and she probably still has quite a lot of equipment on her. So
Yeah.
got to get her out before she just
Sinks.
sinks like a rock.
Well, you get her out, wet and probably sputtering, but yes. But other than that, she's in one piece, and none of the locals are laughing. Not one.
Yeah.
Probably not a good idea.
Not while she's there, at least.
She gets up and then she starts wringing her long blonde hair, looks at Sindri with a big grin. The water was lovely.
I'm glad you think so. Almost just a shame that the locals didn't take to it as well as we'd hoped. Yeah, I guess our fine reputation precedes us, although that may not be such a bad thing.
What do you mean?
Don't you? If you'd fallen off the plank back home, you'd have gotten like a few chuckles out of people. Here, there's nary a sound.
Well, Baggy did say that they don't get humor.
Maybe, or maybe they're just scared shitless of you still. I mean,
He shrugs and starts walking up.
In fairness, there are a lot of questioning and glances at Ylva and Spana specifically, because Jangerder is staying on board, but the two battle maidens are getting a lot of looks.
Yes. What are these women doing dressed in armor and?
Precisely.
Well,
Well,
fuck them.
Is up with a huge grin on her face and then starts walking to see what's happening in there. Ooh, interesting city!
Yes.
Buggy, you will have to teach me how to speak that language eventually.
Oh, I will.
Because while charades can be fun at parties, it's not so fun when you're trying to buy a drink.
I suppose I think it's a matter of the universal gesture of holding a mug of ale and just they'll understand.
Still,
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to teach you.
There's a as I said, there are a lot of people who are looking at the at the battle maidens, but in fairness, there are a lot of people looking at any of you. You all get a lot of attention because good grief, it's a ship full of Southlanders and they're ashore. It's not unheard of for Southlanders, as Boggy can attest to arrive in the Green Shores and simply trade. It happens, which is probably why they weren't just shooting at you the moment that you got within arrow range. But
We know like them, but they might actually trade good things.
yes, exactly. You might actually bring nice stuff that we want. So
Quite a gamble. They might bring good stuff, or they might take us for slaves.
yes,
Who knows?
Who knows? But if they bring amber or white bear pelts and that sort of thing, then yeah.
Yeah, we didn't think that far ahead as to get lots.
No, but you in this case you brought something even more valuable. You brought good sword arms.
And two weird women in armor.
In 2 weird women in armor. 3 actually, but again, one of them is on the ship.
I can't see her.
So
Think peekaboo.
I think Baggy looks at his captain and asks, "So, do you need me for anything?"
no, go ahead. Have fun.
Okay. Well, but Baggy's off then.
Yes.
Big grin on his face.
Yes. Are any of you going together, or are you all heading off in 5 different directions?
I think the second Ilva has gotten back up from the waterfront, she will call out to Frodi and Gylfi at least. Because she doesn't want Baggy with her, because she knows what he's gonna do and she doesn't want part of that.
Well, in that case,
Trouble grunting blanket. She doesn't want any of that.
Frodi suggests that they go have a look around town and then end up in a bar where they can drink their brains out.
See if
Sounds
they're
good.
in some kind of inn somewhere.
Yes, with 4 Southlanders walking in, it's going to be quite a sight. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, there must be like a market where we can buy meat or fresh vegetables or something.
Oh, good. Yes, definitely. There are actually 2 markets, is what I'm trying to say. In town, it's large enough for that, and there is quite a bit of commerce going on there. And the moment you guys arrive, there's also quite a bit of screaming going on, because they don't realize these people weren't down at the harborfront when you came in, so they don't know yet. Suddenly there are this small group of heavily armed Southlanders.
I think the first time that happens, Ilva just steps up in surprise with a what the fuck. Then she looks at the other and goes, "You think that's a weird way of greeting people here?"
No, I think we just look scary to the tiny people.
And that's the thing. They are small compared to you. They're not. I mean, I think a lot of you have seen thralls from other parts of the world, including quite probably some people from Tearglass. But it's one thing to see a couple of thralls here and there and wonder, well, they might be the small and scrawny ones who didn't run away or whatever. But this is a whole city full of them. And there are, thousands of them.
But they don't just come up to your knees.
No, they don't. But they, a few of them, but they're mostly the children.
And I mean, with the thralls, you can always just assume it's because they're malnourished or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Delightful.
But here, this is a different matter entirely. These people are fully grown and from the looks of it, in good physical condition, and they're just not as tall as you guys.
You think it's something with their food, since they don't grow any more than that?
Could be. Maybe we should be careful not to eat too much of it. We might shrink.
Ilva looks terrified. Fuck.
I think it's more a testament to the hardihood of the Southlanders that we're taller than most, not that they're shorter than most.
So you're saying that a country that's difficult to live in makes a strong people?
In some cases,
Apparently
yes.
so.
Good. That should win us the contest in the long run, then.
Well, I thought that was a given.
As you probably learned when we played yesterday, nothing's a given.
The games mortals play cannot be compared to the ones that the powers play with us.
Sindra's
They
right.
still have mortals fighting the battles, and mortals make mistakes.
Of course. Well, if you can enchant that fine board of yours so that the pieces can move without you having to pick them up and do it yourself, then maybe I'll start comparing the two then. How does that sound?
I get a horrible idea. Do you even know what it takes to enchant something?
I have a vague idea. That's
Well,
part of
I
the
shall
reason.
count you as a volunteer then.
I thought you had to be willing for that to work.
Well, that's why you're volunteering.
I'm not, though. Can we focus on getting some damn...
Drunk?
After eating something, I think.
You see well, as I said, there are quite a lot of different people selling different things on the marketplace. You can easily find food. It's not a problem finding food. Cured meats, vegetables, fruits, fresh fruits as well, for that matter. Not just preserve, but fresh fruit.
I imagine bartering is quite difficult.
It is, because you let Baggy run off in a different direction. Although I would not I would not have a problem if you guys want to meet up with Baggy, making it here in a circumspect kind of way. That would be fine, but that's up to you.
And we'll let that be up to Baggy, if he will end up with us again.
Well, so the thing is with Baggy, when he left the crew,
Yeah.
he didn't expect to come back until noon next day. So if he's going to meet the others, it'll have to be them coming to him.
No, yeah, but they are. The way I see it is that he's heading into town, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so are they. That's the thing. So you might meet up there by
Oh,
by
absolutely.
by accident in the market square, for example.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, let's do that. Just to So you see some of your shipmates standing around in the market square, looking. They are clearly looking for something in the marketplace. They're looking for food, and they are trying, from the gestures they're making, they're trying to figure out how to barter with the locals.
Mm-hmm.
Baggy chuckles to himself and then walks over to them. So, how's it going?
You, here, speak, now.
Okay, Captain.
Thank you. Just please inform this delightful purveyor of foodstuffs that we wish to, at a reasonable price, acquire this. And he indicates a shank of whatever meat is available.
There is a large leg of dried ham. It both looks and smells rather nice.
Baggy looks at the peddler and says he indicates Sindri and says, this man called you a goat's arse. So sell it to him, but at a steep price, will you? Please.
The merchant, at first he looks a bit flustered. Then
I don't blame him.
Then he looks at Sindri. Then he looks at Baggy. Then he realizes what is going on, and he has enough sense of self-preservation to not get caught up in the machinations of Southlanders. So he says, I'll sell it by weight. Do you have gold, silver, amber?
Baggy looks at Sindri. What do you have to trade with?
I believe out of character. I believe that Sindri does have some silver on him.
Yeah, you should have something left over from character generation.
Actually, I don't have silver specifically. I have I just have a lot of copper pieces, which might equate to if we stack a lot of them together. That should
10 of them equates 1 silver piece.
Okay, so yes, in that case, he'll pull out a coin purse full of these.
And it's fine if you have them in silver. You're allowed to have them in silver pieces if you prefer.
All right, then yes, he does. Okay,
it takes up less space, basically. So yeah, he takes a look at this, and it is a sizable piece of meat. Let's just put it that way. And he takes out some scales, and some weights, and he weighs out a measure of that he believes is the right price for the what is it called, the right price for the ham.
Yes,
it is. As I said, it's a large piece of meat, so it's not inexpensive, but he will let you have the whole thing for 3 silver pieces. And then you have the entire thing. There's enough food in there for several days for the 5 of you.
Well, we can certainly store it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This as I said, this is cured meat, so it'll keep.
Yeah. So when it's clear that the man is offering the entire part of ham, then Sindri will look at us and say, "Well, the whole thing, and we can store some of this."
He says that to the others.
Yes.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, but the others have all gone catatonic.
It's your pouch, your coins.
Okay, that's.
Rasmus, you're muted.
I have only just returned, so I'm not quite sure what's going on.
We can buy a huge piece of ham that is cured and will last the entire group several days if we buy it. I'm going to buy it for 3 silver pieces if we all want it.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's 3 out of 5. So we'll go with that then.
Yep.
Okay.
You can have food.
The silver is duly handed over, and Sindri does his best to look gracious, although I imagine he actually looks more like he's constipated. But he tries, at least.
He tries. He gives it his best shot and fails miserably, but he does try. And the merchant takes the ham off its hook and hands it over, and there's a good 8 pounds of meat there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 8 pounds of meat and the central bone, but including the central bone. But it's still a lot of food. And sorry.
You mustn't dismiss the bone. There's good marrow in that thing.
Not when it's been cured.
Oh, fair enough.
It's not fresh anymore.
I suppose.
But it's it'll make a decent soup bone nonetheless. There's a lot of taste in it. What's it called? Well, he sells that to you, and he's quite happy with the trade, and you can see. I mean, the point being that you can buy food here easily enough. There's also, as I said, there's fresh fruit. There's fruit preserve. That you can see a place where you can buy bread, for that matter.
That might be nice after a long voyage.
Yeah. So.
Well, someone else
can make a ham sandwich.
Yes,
we could. Well, someone else is buying all this because Sindri's contributed the meat. Everyone else can buy the veg and the bread if they want to.
Fine.
Cheese.
Frodi shall buy us some bread.
Yes. Well, you can find plenty of bread for the lot of you for Well, how much do you want? For how long do you want bread?
I think for now, just for this meal, probably. Because bread is not, it doesn't keep that well.
Well, it keeps better, and modern bread doesn't keep very well. Back in ye olden days, they would actually bake bread that would last longer. It would also be a lot denser. As a result.
Well, in that case, I'll buy bread for roughly as many days as we have had then.
Yeah, that would be about 3 days.
Yep.
2 days with the 5 of you, so it's 2 days. But yeah, sure.
Bread back then would be dense enough you could practically use it as a close combat weapon.
Pretty much.
So how much is the bread?
Bread for 5 people for 2 days. 1 silver, 5 copper.
Cool.
And you, by the way, none of you get any feeling at any time that these people are actually trying to cheat you out of your money. They seem to
They are
be,
smarter than that.
They are smarter than that. They don't try to take advantage of the fact that you don't speak the language and that you're foreign, so on. They are not dumb. They don't try to pull that kind of stunt on people like you. That would be...
No.
And people who could quite easily kill them.
Yes. Aya, you said something?
Oh, how much did we start with? Because all I remember was that you read out loud what she started out with, but never really an actual value.
That's right, because we didn't... in your case, we had to do it a bit quickly, so we didn't actually have time to sit down and do all the intricate shopping of little bits and bobs afterwards. Christ.
Which makes completely sense since she is a battle maiden.
Yeah.
Why would she need a trinket?
Exactly. Well, how much money did the rest of you guys, those of you who had anything left, because I know Baggy has the same problem, so just give me an idea of how much money I'm going to
I had 65 copper pieces, which is then turned into, 6 silver and 5 copper pieces.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's just say that you have, the two of you both have the equivalent of... Well, I'll say Ylva probably has the equivalent of 5 silver pieces, so, 5 silver or 50 copper. And...
Where do you write that?
In the...
I just wrote it under wealth.
Yeah,
fifth dot
Quick
along,
inventory.
there's a quick inventory in there.
Yeah.
Oh!
And Baggy, the point of him, of course, being that he has been a man who's been out on trading vessels and so on before. So I will say that Baggy has 100 copper, not silver, but copper pieces, or 10 silver. So.
100 gold!
Yeah, that wouldn't do him much good. Well, here it would, but not in the Southlands. So yes, that is the situation. So now you have bread and you have ham, and there is a place that sells cheese as well, so you could make a proper ham sandwich. But point being that, yeah,
Cheese keeps somewhat well.
cheese keeps extremely well. In fact, it is meant to. It is meant to be. I mean, that's the whole point of cheese, is that it's a way to preserve milk for very long periods of time.
In that case, that might be a good idea.
Yeah, it does take a long time to, ripen.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, it does.
At least a month for the ones I've seen that takes the least time.
Yeah, you can get cheese that was put down for ripening years before, literally.
Ooh,
They're the kind of cheese that will come if you call for it by name.
yes.
In the span they have been talking here, Ylva's probably wandered off because she's both curious and impulsive.
Yes.
So she just, ooh, what's that? Ooh, what's that?
And she is now finding herself looking at... she's finding herself looking at cloth, which is woven in patterns and ways that you haven't seen in the Southlands. Obviously, they use different patterns here.
Ooh. The pattern is interesting.
Yep, lots of swirls and geometric shapes. It's quite nice, actually. I should probably also. You've been looking at that, and the others have been buying food, as I said. Gulfi, what are you doing in the meantime?
Well, Delphi was at first, since he was cold, he was following like Ilva and the rest.
Yeah.
And at some point, because I'm still wondering, since I have the linguistics of Tear Glass, do I actually speak the language?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Okay, I was not sure. But he was probably too shy every time the buggy was speaking to.
I don't think
more dominant personality.
Precisely.
Yeah. So he was like walking around and I suppose he was, because he also is curious, like he would break off, but he would also keep closer to Ilva, like seeing trying to tail her a little bit. He probably, if he finds something that really captivates him, he might lose her, but yet he tries to keep closer to her. Like he's walking, like looking at herbs, looking at cloth, like to be fair, everything. He just soaking in everything that he can.
All the sights and smells and stuff. Yeah.
And it's a good thing
and he's probably like, if nobody else is looking, like he's probably like talking to some people, like trying to ask about things like, oh, why this cloth is like that, oh, why this herb is like dried instead of like ground or something, just.
So that's actually a good thing. You can definitely find a stall that sells herbs for herbal remedies and potions and stuff like that. The local version of cough syrup.
But he's probably not going to buy anything because he imagines like the stuff is like expensive and he's still stocked, I would say. But he definitely like starts like just talking to people about like, why do you what do you use this herb for? Like, where do you find it? Just trying to absorb as much knowledge as he can.
And it's also got an extra side effect that he does this. He's making a good first impression. There are people the people that he speaks to clearly take notice that he's fascinated and interested. He's not haughty. He's not condescending. He doesn't come across as threatening. And that makes them far more willing to speak to him.
And he looks the least intimidating. He's still like tall, but he's pretty skinny. He's pretty
exactly.
And he's quite pretty, for like prettier than the rest of the men.
Yeah, he's not a bad looking guy. So they're all the people that you talk to are definitely, they take note of this and seem quite happy to be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
You do get to a stall after a while where an old man and a young woman are selling, not only selling herbs, but they're also selling finished poultices and bandages and so on that are basically already prepared. And it's right up your alley, obviously. So once they've noticed that you're looking at their stock and their wares, the older man steps forward and says, "Is there anything that interests you? Is there anything you want?"
Well, he's like, it's hard. Like, if I am to be honest, like it's really hard for me to pinpoint just one thing that is of interest to me here. he picks up like something and like, oh, like this smells familiar. What's this? You know, he just starts conversing, like just picks up the first thing that he finds like remotely familiar, and just
Yes.
but it's somehow like odd. It's different, and he wants to like, ooh, like ooh, is it this herb? But what is it mixed with? Like,
Well, that one, he says.
yeah, he's like,
That one you're holding right there. He grins crookedly. He says that's actually quite rare, and be careful with it. It's quite expensive. It's made of gold clover, and it's hard to come by. But it makes for very good poultices.
what is it used for? Like is it like
It make
poultice on wounds
yes,
or like?
yes, exactly. It's used for to make bleeding wounds will stop bleeding. That's the point of it, is that you know it helps with it staunches bleeding very effectively. So
Can I like somehow like I don't like I'm looking at this guy. I don't because like Gilfy like he's trusting it. Answer this traits. Yeah, he has gullibility. Like so, he's like no, he wouldn't suspect any foul play. It's
no.
like ooh, like, and he's like ooh. Like how expensive is it?
Oh, he says, we sell each of these poultices, each of them, at 2 silvers. But that's
How long?
but that's
how long does
only
it last?
because my granddaughter has to go and collect this stuff by hand, and it only grows in places where the Shi are living, and they're not always very friendly.
Can you describe this herb for me? Like just
Oh, certainly,
you know.
I can show you. Says, and
Oh.
he takes out a small a small handful of, or I won't even say a handful. It's probably more like a couple of sprigs of this plant in a dried form.
Yeah.
And it looks something like this.
He's probably just like taking in the shape, the smell, the like. Oh, so it's like he's comparing like is it growing near trees, or is it growing near bushes? It's like, or does it grow low to the ground or high on the high on the branch?
Yeah,
So, he just tries to like.
He's quite happy to.
He's talking shop basically.
Yeah. No, he is quite happy to talk to you about that, and clearly you are showing an interest, and he's more than happy to talk to someone else who has knowledge of plants and herbs and so on, because not everybody does, and he's not shy about oh my god, it's a trade secret, I should never tell anyone. It's not like that at all. He's friendly enough. His presumably the young woman there is the granddaughter he mentioned before, and she's being quiet and not saying anything, and just keeping in the background and so on. She's clearly a little bit intimidated, because you might be friendly for a Southlander, but you're still massively
Big.
tall, and the Southlander and all that. So oh no. And yeah, that's the what is it called? That is the conversation that you can have with him is basically mostly about plants and so on. But please, could you roll me, just you, could you roll me a perception?
Which one? The general one?
Yeah,
or?
just unless you have.
No, I don't have any.
No, I should probably just say perception and then what stat it is, because you always have the base one to fall back on. So okay, perception. sight.
They're all the same for me.
Yeah,
so
exactly. But it's sight based.
Hey.
Hey. Excellent. You're standing there. You're talking to him, and it's actually quite pleasant conversation. And you look up towards just at some point you're not even sure why afterwards, but you look upwards, and you realize that there is there's a very large raven sitting on a branch in a tree nearby, staring directly at you.
He just goes slightly, like he probably just keeps talking to the guy, but suddenly he starts stuttering more, and like he goes like slightly more, like he's distracted. Basically, like he's distracted and goes like slightly paler, and like and curious, and like and tries to bring the conversation to the end. Like takes the poultice, like gives him two silver. You said?
Yes, 2 silvers
Okay.
for one of these.
Yeah. He gives him 2 silver. Like he counts out the silver, like gives it to him.
Yeah.
Gives it to him, like, and it was lovely talking to you. I hope your family stay safe. It's like and
Thank
like
you.
and he just scrambles quickly and just like goes towards the raven, I would say.
Yes, towards the
He
raven.
is.
Yes. Well, it's sitting right there, and it's staring right at you. It's not moving. It's not hopping down from the from the branch. It's not taking off. It's literally sitting there, and it's looking right at you. And ravens are already much larger birds than most people tend to think they are. Most people tend to think of a crow when they think of a raven. They're not. Ravens are huge birds, but they but this thing is massive, and it's clearly got its attention directly on you.
Probably just reaches inside his not cloak. I'll say cloak. Because he has no weapons on him.
No.
Like that's the thing. Like because he only weapons he has is like spear and a bow, which is just in the middle of the city. And so he's just basically unarmed and just and has like a just reaches inside his cloak or somewhere, like just grabs the that raven necklace that he got of his father. Like it just start just like rubbing it gently as just like still looking at the raven, like and he's curious, but like he doesn't really know what to do. Like he just observes the raven for a moment.
Yeah, and the raven observes you, and for a moment it feels like the what's it called, the amulet that you're holding in your hand. You could swear that it feels for the briefest of moments like the raven foot. It is a foot after all, or a claw. Raven's the 3-pronged claw of a raven's foot, that it twitches in your fingers, and you look at it, and because it's got sharp claws on the foot, and it actually gives you a scratch on your finger.
He probably just takes the hand quickly.
Yeah, and you look at that, and as you look back up from the little wound on your hand, you realize that the tree is still there, and but the marketplace all around it is gone. There's just you and the tree and the raven.
He starts panicking a little bit, like looking around, just like what no, that's. And probably just to calm himself down, he's trying to run down in his mind, like okay, maybe I touched the wrong poultice or something like that. Or something like this.
Might be hallucinating.
Yeah, the like that's his fallback.
Mm-hmm.
Like, But he's still keeping an eye on the
Yeah,
raven, like
of course. You feel a hand on your shoulder.
on my what?
On your shoulder.
He probably jumps forward and just turns around and says, "Ah!"
Skittish.
Turn
around and look, or
Well, yes, he's like turning around and just
looking into the chest of the largest or tallest woman you've ever seen in your life.
He looks like you have this. He's looking in front, like he just sees the chest, armored or not, and he just slowly raises his eyes, just like
up to look at the face of the Raven Lady.
Yes. Yeah, he would probably seen a picture of her because he never seen her. He's seen
he would at least have known her from descriptions. There is only one face in the Southlands looking like that. And, you can't tell if she's sneering or if she's smiling. It's kind of one and the same with her.
And I would say he had his hands like raised, like boxing hands, but but he just lowers it and he's frozen. He's like completely frozen, going pale, and this is not how. Like how is this? No, that is going in his mind because he's too scared to speak.
She looks you up and down and then slowly walks all around you. You have this very, very distinct feeling of being measured somehow. And she stops in front of you again and says, "All right. So you're skittish, and you're skinny, and you're easily frightened. What is your name, boy?"
Good. Gilfy.
Gilfy, I see. I knew your father.
Like he probably looks at the ground now. It's like many did.
Yes, many did. Did you know that he could have been a huntsman? I offered him the black cloak once. He said no, very respectfully, but he said no. Do you know why?
He just shaking his head, like never talked about any of this.
No, I don't think he would have. It's been some years. No, he turned it down because his wife had died. And he had a son he wanted to make sure grew up to be a good man. Would that be you?
He had many sons. Oh, many. 3 of us. I don't know. Maybe.
Something tells me it could have been you. Your father gave up glory and honor for you. She leans, she walks up right in your face, basically, and just, she gets into your personal space and looks down at you along the length of a nose that has been broken a few times too many.
Yeah, probably he would try to, he wants to make a step back, but he's just too frozen to do it.
Yeah.
So
make it worth something. make his rejection mean something good. Very few men say no when I offer them a black cloak. In fact, I think it's happened less than 10 times over the years. Your father was one of them. He was a good man. Be better. And then she turns around and walks away, and as she vanishes from sight, you find yourself standing in the marketplace again. The raven takes off, flies away, and you're probably quite short of breath, or you are quite short of breath at this point. It's like, but
yeah, he's probably like just that step that he wanted to take back, he takes back, but he probably like slips and just falls against the nearest like wall or of that in fact that tree that Draven was sitting on.
Yeah, probably.
And he just kind of buries his face in his hands and like just tries to compose himself and probably like cries a little bit and just I don't know, just like a lot of different emotions flying right now.
Yeah.
Mostly hyperventilating.
No problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Back to the rest of you.
And we're so nice to him in the chat.
Yeah. Yes.
I was to go away briefly. Did we have a break before?
No, we don't, but we should take a break now, actually. It's a good place to take the second break, and we'll be right back with the third hour of The Long Voyage.